Welcome to another edition of Palydyn Presents, hosted by yours truly. Today I present you with another top 10 list, this time traveling back in video game history to find the 10 best games for the Mattel Intellivision. The console was the first true 16-bit home gaming rig and was initially released in North America in 1979. Hey, and whatever you do, I want you to go ahead and smash that subscribe button for more great videos. And if you like to talk video games as much as I do, why don't you join me on our Discord channel? So without further ado, here is my top 10 list of the best games for the Intellivision. Coming in at number 10 is a game regarded by many as one of the first city-building games. Utopia, designed by Don Dayglow, was first released for the console in 1982. The game features two-player action where each controls their own island, choosing how many rounds up to 50 they want to play, each lasting no longer than 2 minutes. Each player uses gold bars as currency to build homes, schools, factories, hospitals, and forts to strengthen the infrastructure of their island. They can also plant crops, build fishing fleets, and PT boats, as well as funnel funds to support rebels on the opposing player's island. Keep your people happy, and the island grows. Make them angry, and the rebels will ruin your day. The player with the most points at the end of the game is declared the winner. If you were wondering where real-time strategy games got their start, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better example than Utopia. Landing at the number 9 spot on the list is Space Patrol, a homebrew clone of the early 80s arcade game Moon Patrol. The game was designed by Joe Ziebziak, and forgive me if I'm butchering that name, and was published by Left Turn Only in 2007. In Space Patrol, you assume the role of a space cadet for the Federation of Planets, tasked with patrolling various planets in the solar system in your advanced tank looking for smugglers and aliens. The object of the game is to complete stages of the patrol course as fast as you can, avoiding a myriad of hazards and attacks, and use your on-screen to display to warn of approaching danger. While Space Patrol didn't come out until the 2000s, it's considered by many to be one of the best Intellivision games to date. So much so, Moon Patrol is one of the games announced for the upcoming Intellivision Amico. Number 8 on my list is Triple Action, released for the console in 1981. Inspired by games on the Atari 2600, Triple Action actually features 3 games: racing cars, which pitch you in a highway race against an opponent, dodging traffic as you go. The first player to reach 100 miles first wins. There's also battle tanks, where 2 players fight each other in tanks, using cover to shoot long-range or short-range rounds at the enemies. Players can also use rounds that ricochet off objects for an even harder challenge. Finally, there's biplanes, dogfighting in the sky against another player. Look for the balloon for extra points. First player to 15 points wins. Triple Action offered a lot of bang for the buck with a choice of 3 games and fun gameplay. Tron Deadly Discs takes the number 7 spot on the list, a title licensed from Walt Disney based on the 1982 movie. The game places you inside a computer where you must be constantly moving to avoid getting hit by flying discs, thrown at you by 3 enemy AI. The player can also hurl discs back at enemies to take them out. There are doors scattered about the player can utilize to teleport to different sections of the room and surprise enemies to take them out. The more you score in the game, the harder it becomes. Enemies will move quicker and throw more accurate and faster discs. Tron Deadly Discs was fun and challenging, earning its number 7 spot in my top 10.
Mattel Electronics presents B17 Bomber.
That's right, B17 Bomber comes in at the number 6 spot on my list. Released for the console in 1982, B17 Bomber puts you in the pilot seat of the iconic World War II warplane as you conduct bombing raids on German targets late in the war from your base in England. Select your bombing areas, monitor your fuel, and watch out for enemy fighters. Switch views from the cockpit, bomb bay doors, and gun turrets. When you hear the voice come over the radio warning of enemy fighters, it's time to fight for your life. If you're fortunate enough to limp back to your base, you can repair, refuel, and stock up on bombs and ammo and attack more targets. B17 Bomber was one of 4 Intellivision games to use the IntelliVoice add-on. The game sold well and was responsible for the majority of IntelliVoice units that were purchased. Oh yeah, it's burger time! No self-respecting top 10 of Intellivision games would leave out this classic, and I certainly won't either. You play as Chef Pepper, and you're on a mission to make delicious giant burgers by dropping down the ingredients from high on a platform to an area below to stack up your behemoth burger. But watch out! Eggs, hot dogs, and those pesky pickles will do all they can to stop you. Burger Time really evoked fun times when playing with friends and family, having a true arcade feel to it. It was one of those games you simply kept coming back to again and again just to try and beat your high score. And it's for these reasons Burger Time definitely makes my list. At the number 4 spot sits Snafu, another Intellivision original with an arcade action feel. In the game, you control a wall that you move around the screen in an attempt to trap the other players who are also controlling walls of their own. If you crash into another wall or the border of the screen, you're eliminated for the round. Last player left is the winner. The game offers several options to spice up the play, such as obstacles, decreased movement options, wall mechanics, etc. Snafu can be played by up to 4 players. Also included is a 2-player game where each player controls a snake comprised of 10 links, with the goal being to bite off all the links of the other player's snake. Snafu was a fun game, increasingly challenging, and that's why it reaches the number 4 rank on my list. Astro Smash rockets up to my number 3 spot, and for good reason. Some would say this should be even higher, and it would be hard to argue. Astro Smash, designed by John Soule and released by Mattel for the Intellivision in 1981, began as a clone of the Smash arcade hit Asteroids. It was changed, however, due to the copyright concerns, and the result was sort of an Asteroids meets Space Invaders. You control a laser cannon, scrolling left to right, shooting down objects such as meteors, spinning bombs, and missiles, with the occasional UFO thrown in. Players lose points if any fallen object gets past them. As the player progresses, the game gets increasingly harder. Now, Astro Smash wasn't necessarily the most original of games, but it was fun, being evidenced by the nearly 1 million units shipped by June 1983, making it one of the most popular Intellivision games ever. Astro Smash was also the first game for the console that you could actually pause. In late 1982, Astro Smash was included with purchase of an Intellivision console. Advanced Dungeons & Dragons: Cloudy Mountain holds a special place in my heart. As a young kid who was into pen and paper D&D, this was my first time playing it on a console. Dungeons & Dragons on my TV set, heck yes. Okay, it wasn't dice rolls and hurling spells, but your intrepid hero, armed with just a bow and arrows, must make a treacherous journey to restore a broken crown. In the game, you explore rooms and hallways throughout the mountain maze, fighting monsters, collecting items, and more arrows for your bow in the form of quivers. You'll also need an axe to cut through forests, a boat for the rivers, and a key for certain gates throughout the game. Cloudy Mountain is the endgame dungeon where 2 dragons await you. Defeat them for the 2 pieces of the Crown of Kings to win the game. By today's standards, the game is a little dull and simplistic, but in 1982 it was a fantastic world of thrills and adventure. The game received many awards and was hailed as the first D&D video game. I almost placed it as my favorite Intellivision game of all time, but it was just barely beat out by my choice for the best game on the console. Which brings us to Night Stalker, my choice as the best game ever for the Intellivision. One thing the console certainly did was have a ton of maze adventure games. but Night Stalker was definitely the cream of the crop. You start out with absolutely nothing. Zip. Nada. And what's worse is there's all kinds of nasty things roaming about. Spiders, robots, and bats, all waiting to ruin your day. But guess what? There's a gun to find with 6 bullets. Find the gun, blast the creeps. Out of bullets? Now you have to navigate the maze to find another one before you're toast. You can also run to your bunker where you'll be safe from all monsters except higher level bots who can destroy your safe haven. Night Stalker was released for the system in 1982, and I nearly wore out my Intellivision that year from playing Night Stalker so much. I was extremely excited to see the game featured as one of the titles planned for release with the upcoming Intellivision Amico. Speaking of which, here are some of the other classic games planning to be released with the new system. So there you have it, my picks for the 10 best games for the Intellivision. What games would you include on your list? Which games would you remove from my list? Let me know in the comments below. This is Palydyn signing off. See you again soon.